We had a softball tournament that weekend. When I woke up in the morning, I noticed my fingers were a little numb. My feet kind of tingled like they had fallen asleep. I just kind of brushed it off as it'll go away as I get through the day and get moving. When I woke up the next morning, my entire body was numb. I couldn't hardly pick my head up off a pillow. I couldn't really talk. Even my respiratory system was slowing down. And that's when I told her that I'm getting worse, I'm not getting better. It started to scare me. At that point, I decided it was best just to get to the closest hospital.
And they had him whisked off so quickly and diagnosed that it was not a stroke or a heart attack, but we did not know what it was. And then towards the evening, they said, we think you should transfer to a larger hospital because we don't have the neurologist here to treat you.
My oxygen levels dropped severely. My blood pressure dropped severely, which put me into a critical state by the time I got to Cleveland Clinic.
I knew when they took him into the ICU that I saw him struggle. You know, I saw him struggle. So I didn't know. I didn't know from there.
And the neurologist came into the waiting room and she told me that it was Guillain-Barré syndrome. And it was a virus and that it had attacked his respiratory system.
This is an autoimmune process that affects the peripheral nerves and affects the covering of the nerves, so that patients are neurologically devastated. He was completely quadriplegic. He could not move any of his arms or legs. And he was so weak from a respiratory standpoint, he had to be intubated and be placed on a breathing machine that was providing all of his respiratory function.
There is a treatment for Guillain-Barré and people generally do recover from this, but for Brent, it was really incredibly uncertain.
I believe I was intubated for 9 days.
It's very crucial during that time that patients are so incapacitated that they need to be mobilized, they need to keep moving. There are all kinds of medical complications that can occur just from being in bed.
Bed rest really affects every body system negatively, and by getting the patient out of bed, we can make a huge impact. Probably the most incredible is it decreases depression and it decreases delirium in our patients, which is huge.
We know that for every day that you're in bed, it's 3 days of rehabilitation because you deconditioned that quickly. One of the interventions that we're really working on here is to get patients up and out of bed and moving and normalizing their day as soon as possible. For Brent, we felt it was safe for him to get out of bed. We approached him and said just that, how would you like to get out of bed? And he sort of had this bright look on his face, but then he became very concerned.
They put him in this sling underneath of him and lifted him up out of bed and put him in a chair.
It's a lift mechanism that comes down. It has a bar. We put a very strong sling underneath him that connects to the lift, and then we lift him up. And it's really important to describe all of that to patients so that they understand what's about to happen to them.
I felt so safe and secure seeing him being lifted and put into a chair, and I realized how important it is to be upright, to breathe, and how quickly he got so much better.
It was actually something I looked forward to, getting out of bed, sitting in a chair.
You could just see the improvement day by day. It was leaps and bounds.
That's how quick things happen from my first chair trip to ventilator off to going to rooftop. That's how quick it all happened.
Is Mr. Boyle a wonderful success story? Yes, he is. But every patient is a candidate for the kind of care that this care path is prescribing, because we know that this is the right care to provide to every patient, every family. And it's the right thing to do for every caregiver, not only to help them have the tools to mobilize our patients, but to do so safely. We've had caregivers say, wow, I knew that mobilizing my patient was the right thing to do, and I got to provide the type of care that I wanted to provide. I went home today feeling like I did a good job for my patient.
It's probably one of the largest rewards that you can have when working in this profession. I can think of no better case for this.
I am 100% advocate for this mobility program because it made the difference. Just feeling safe and secure that nothing was going to happen.
I was in that brief moment of, what will I do without him? And then was quickly reassured that he was so well taken care of that everything was going to be all right. The fear quickly left me, and I had such confidence of where we were at.
When you go from a period where you think that life's over, to life's been changed forever, to life's normal again,